I'm sure there's people out there who totally buy in. They're like, yeah, I get video would work. I get it's important. How do you coach people and talk them through that to actually get comfortable being on video?
I love this question. So question is, what do you do with people who are stiff or scared or self-conscious about the way that they look on video? I will say, well, for my coaching, the first week, we never shoot any video. That's always the first thing. The video starts the second week. Whenever I coach somebody, there's a couple exercises we do. One is I make them go ask their audience a question about something that ideally they don't know the answer to. Usually it's some sort of controversy in their industry. And the first video is always just them reacting to that. It's like, hey, I asked this question. Here's what the audience said, and here's my reaction to that. You know, I do a lot of exercises with people to get them into a good mindset. I like to ask people, tell me about a couple times in your life where you objectively won something. Have you ever won an award? Were you ever in sports? Did you ever do some sort of like competitive club? Or sometime they were on stage? And I actually call what I do, I have a fancy word for it. I call it soliloquy, because I say it's the long lost art of just talking straight to the audience. This is something that has been around for a long time. Shakespeare did this all the time. And so did Ferris Bueller, and so did The Office and Parks and Rec. And there's all these beloved forms of entertainment where the characters are talking and then they look straight at the camera and they're just like, and the audience loves it, you know? So I'm like, we need to find you as the natural storyteller. And that means sometimes you're the student and sometimes you're the teacher. And again, I come from a sketch comedy background. So I was often writing and directing shows that I was not in. I was the writer, and I would work with a cast of actors. So when you are a director and somebody is looking at you and they're very stiff, you don't say this person isn't funny. You say this is a straight man, you know, and I'm going to put him in a situation where he's super rigid and he's playing off a completely off the wall kind of energy. And that's going to be really funny, not because he's trying to be the funny guy. It's because he's going to sit there completely wooden, and the audience is going to laugh at that contrast, you know? So again, this comes back to that idea of like, I don't tell people to be funny. I tell people to go tell the truth, you know? And sometimes if I'm working with somebody who's an executive, I'm like, look, you are a man who built a business. You know, you're a man who has hired and fired people, you know? When we want you to go out there as the boss, you're going to be talking from the perspective of like, I've gotten stuff done and I've accomplished things and I've made money and I've, you know, all that stuff. But also sometimes you're dad, you know, and you're different with your kids. There's a different level of vulnerability out there, or you're different when you're around your friends, or you're different when you're given a speech at your friend's wedding as their best man. You know, there's all these different circumstances where we have to pop into like a slightly different version of ourselves. So I'm like, who do you want to be out there? You know, are you the guy who is being a little serious right now because you're talking about something a little serious? Are you the guy that trains sales teams and you're out here getting everybody pumped up? You know, like we all, if we take a deep look within ourselves, can find that, no, actually, we've played like multiple different roles throughout our lives. Sometimes we're in charge, sometimes we're not in charge. I always say, like, figure out, does the audience want you to be Batman, or do they want you to be Robin, or do they want you to be Alfred?